Imagine for a moment that your mind is a garden, silent, rich, waiting. It doesn't care what you plant. It will return whatever you give it in abundance. If you plant weeds, you'll get weeds. If you plant flowers, you'll get beauty. That, my friends, is one of the oldest and most powerful truths ever discovered. You become what you think about. Every thought you hold, every belief you nurture, every word you repeat in the quiet of your mind. These are seeds. And your life, exactly as it is today, is the harvest of those very seeds you planted yesterday. Most people never stop to consider what they're planting. They move through life scattering thoughts of worry, fear, and limitation, and then wonder why their days are filled with anxiety and confusion. Yet the soil, your mind, doesn't discriminate. It will grow whatever you sow. If you think in terms of lack, you'll live in lack. If you think in terms of abundance, gratitude, and purpose, your life will bloom with opportunity. The mind is the most fertile field known to man, but it demands a wise gardener. The gardener who tends his thoughts with care understands that weeds appear without invitation. Negative ideas, doubts, and fears will creep in the moment vigilance fades. And so, he pulls them out daily, patiently, replacing them with thoughts of confidence, courage, and faith. This is mental discipline, and it's no small task. But the reward is profound peace of mind, clarity of purpose, and a steady growth toward one's chosen destiny. You see, the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful isn't intelligence, luck, or education. It's cultivation. Successful people plant thoughts of achievement, faith, and service. They nurture them with persistence and patience. The unsuccessful allow weeds to grow unchecked, thoughts of defeat, envy, and fear. Both gardeners have the same soil, the same sun, the same rain, but one plants deliberately, while the other neglects his field and lives among thorns of his own making. Every great achievement, every invention, every act of progress began as a single seed, a thought planted with faith, watered with action, and nourished by persistence. You and I are no different. Within each of us lies a garden capable of producing a life far beyond our imagination. The secret is to plant wisely. Plant gratitude instead of complaint. Plant vision instead of doubt. Plant kindness instead of criticism. Because what you plant today determines what you'll harvest tomorrow. So, the question is not whether your mind is a garden. It is. The real question is, what are you planting? Each day, each hour, each thought adds something to your field. You cannot reap peace if you sow conflict. You cannot grow success if you feed failure. Choose your seeds with care. Nurture them with belief. Guard them from weeds. And one day, you'll wake to find that the world around you has become as beautiful, as rich, and as fruitful as the thoughts you planted within. There's a quiet power within you that you might not have noticed. It's there when you wake up in the morning and before you fall asleep at night. It never rests, never questions, never argues. It simply accepts what you feed it and begins to work. That power is your mind, and like the soil in a garden, it will grow whatever you choose to plant. The quality of your thoughts, the care you give them, and the consistency with which you nurture them determine the harvest of your life. You see, most people go through life unaware that this garden even exists. They wander through their days throwing seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation into the soil of their own consciousness, and when their lives begin to fill with disappointment or struggle, they blame the weather, their circumstances, or fate itself. Yet the truth is much simpler. The mind does not choose for us. It only responds. Think for a moment about the farmer. He understands the laws of the earth. He knows that if he plants wheat, he will not reap corn. If he sows thorns, he will not gather figs. And if he leaves his land untended, nature will fill it with weeds. The same law governs our minds. Every thought we hold and nourish takes root and begins to grow. Whether we plant ideas of strength and gratitude or seeds of fear and resentment, the soil will not discriminate. It will grow both with equal energy. That is why the wisest among us take responsibility for the thoughts they allow to live in their minds. They recognize that their destiny is not written in the stars, but cultivated in the soil of their own imagination. If you think small, you live small. If you believe the world is unfair, it will show you every reason to confirm it. But if you believe life is abundant, if you expect opportunity, if you train your mind to look for what's good and possible, the world will respond in kind. It's not magic, it's law. The world outside mirrors the world within. Your outer circumstances are the reflection of your inner cultivation. Just as a garden reveals the care of its keeper, your life reveals the care of your thoughts. And yet, how few people stop long enough to decide what they want to plant. They rush, they worry, they react. They consume endless noise from the world around them, and in doing so, they let strangers plant seeds in their garden. Television, gossip, pessimism, fear. All these are weeds carried on the wind, and if you do not guard your mind, they will root themselves before you even realize it. The gardener who leaves his gate open cannot be surprised when weeds overrun his field. So it is with the mind. The first step toward mastery is awareness, realizing that your mind is not meant to be a dumping ground for every passing thought. It is a sacred field where your future is grown. Imagine two people standing side by side facing the same world. One fills his mind each morning with gratitude, with goals, with purpose. The other fills his with complaint, envy, and doubt. Both walk through the same streets, meet the same kinds of people, and face the same challenges. But their experiences could not be more different. One sees opportunity, the other sees obstacles. One grows in strength, the other shrinks in fear. The soil is the same, but the seeds are not. This is the quiet miracle of the human mind. It creates from the inside out. Whatever you continually think about, believe in, and emotionally dwell upon must sooner or later manifest in your life. The challenge, then, is to choose your seeds wisely. When you catch yourself thinking thoughts of fear, replace them with thoughts of courage. When you notice resentment, plant forgiveness. When you feel doubt, water the seed of faith. Over time, this simple discipline reshapes the landscape of your life. You begin to move through your days with calm and direction, knowing that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the gardener of your own destiny. It's not the storms of life that destroy us. It's the neglected garden within that allows weeds of fear and indecision to take root. The truth is, you already possess everything you need to create the life you want. You have the soil, the mind, and you have the freedom to choose what you'll plant. No one can take that from you. You can decide today to plant thoughts of prosperity, joy, courage, and love, and your life will begin to move in that direction. It may not happen overnight. No harvest ever does. But with persistence and care, the seeds will grow. The law never fails. What you sow, you reap. What you plant in your mind, you will one day find in your life. So take a moment to look at the garden of your thoughts. Ask yourself honestly, what am I planting? Are these seeds leading me toward peace, purpose, and growth? Or am I nurturing weeds that choke out the light of my own potential? Because the soil is ready, whether you are or not. It will grow what you give it. And the harvest, your future, is being prepared even now by the thoughts you entertain today. There's something remarkable about the way the mind works, and yet most people never take the time to understand it. The mind does not judge, it does not question, and it never sleeps. It accepts whatever you plant within it and begins to bring it to life. The problem is, most people are planting seeds unconsciously. They fill their days with thoughts of what they fear, what they lack, and what they wish to avoid. And then they're surprised when those very things appear in their lives. The mind, like the earth, will return in kind what is placed within it. If you plant thorns, you will not reap roses. If you sow complaints, you cannot expect joy. But if you deliberately plant ideas of peace, success, and gratitude, your life will begin to reflect those very qualities. Every day, each of us walks through two worlds, the world within and the world without. The outer world, the one we can see and touch, is merely a reflection of the inner one. Yet people spend their lives trying to change the outside while ignoring the inside. They chase better jobs, better houses, better circumstances, hoping those changes will bring them happiness. But the truth is, nothing in the outer world can remain improved unless the inner world has been cultivated first. The seed must come before the harvest. You cannot change the fruit until you change the seed from which it grows. Take a moment and think about your daily thoughts. Are they constructive or destructive? Do they lift you or drain you? The mind has no limits except the ones we impose upon it. Every great discovery, every work of art, every act of progress began as a single thought, a seed planted in the fertile soil of imagination. And yet, so many people spend their mental energy repeating the same unproductive patterns, worry about the future, regret over the past, doubt in the present. They are planting weeds and expecting a garden of abundance. The soil does not choose, it simply grows whatever it is given. To live with purpose is to become aware of this process and take charge of it. You have the ability to select your thoughts, to decide which ones deserve your attention and which ones do not. The gardener does not let anything grow simply because the wind carried it in. He chooses carefully. He tends his field with intention. And so must you. When a thought of fear enters your mind, examine it. Is it useful or is it a weed? When a thought of envy or bitterness appears, uproot it before it takes hold. Left unattended, these weeds multiply quickly, choking out the growth of what is good. But when you water thoughts of courage, hope, and faith, they flourish, creating an environment where peace and success naturally grow. Most people believe that circumstances shape their thoughts, but the opposite is true. Thoughts shape circumstances. Your outer conditions are the mirror image of your inner beliefs. A person who constantly tells himself that he cannot succeed will find evidence everywhere to confirm it. He'll overlook opportunities, misinterpret challenges, and attract difficulty. Meanwhile, someone who believes in possibility sees openings where others see obstacles. The difference is not in the world, but in the way each mind perceives and interprets it. The same sun that hardens clay also melts wax. It is not the sun that determines the outcome, it is the substance it shines upon. This understanding gives you tremendous power. You can decide right now to begin planting thoughts that lead to growth instead of decay. You can train your mind to expect good, to anticipate success, to focus on gratitude. You can cultivate the habit of replacing negative ideas with positive ones until it becomes second nature. It requires effort, yes, but no greater effort than what is already being spent on worry and fear. The only difference is direction. One builds, the other destroys. You were born with the most powerful, creative instrument in existence, the human mind. It has built civilizations, cured diseases, and shaped the course of history. And yet, that same instrument can imprison a person in mediocrity if used carelessly. The choice is always yours. You can let your thoughts drift like weeds on the wind, or you can cultivate them like the gardener who knows exactly what he wishes to grow. Every thought you hold, repeated day after day, becomes part of who you are. Over time, these thoughts solidify into beliefs, and those beliefs direct your actions. And your actions, repeated, form the very life you live. So take care with what you allow to live in your mind. Choose thoughts that empower rather than diminish you. Choose to see challenges as opportunities for growth, failures as lessons, and uncertainty as the soil from which progress emerges. The mind will grow what you plant, always. It cannot be otherwise. And when you understand that, when you truly accept that the cause of your life's results lies not out there but in here, you begin to take command of your own destiny. The moment you decide to plant deliberately, to sow thoughts of purpose and gratitude instead of worry and complaint, that is the moment your life begins to change. From that point forward, the harvest is certain. There is a quiet battle that takes place in every human mind, a struggle between the seeds we wish to grow and the weeds that creep in uninvited. The weeds never ask permission. They arrive when the soil is left untended, when vigilance fades, when care is forgotten. They appear as small, harmless thoughts at first, a doubt, a complaint, a fear. But if they are left to take root, they spread quickly, choking the life out of everything good that was meant to flourish there. This is why the greatest work a person can do is not in the office, not in the field, but within the boundaries of his own thoughts. The true art of living lies in tending the garden of the mind. Each morning when you wake, your thoughts begin to move. They reach toward the past, the future, the problems of the day ahead. Some thoughts are helpful. They prepare, they build, they inspire. Others drain you before the day even begins. And unless you learn to separate the two, the weeds will win. Mental discipline is not about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is fine. It is about choosing what to feed your attention to. The moment you give energy to a thought, you water it, and whatever you water grows. A thought of gratitude expands into contentment. A thought of fear expands into anxiety. A thought of determination grows into action. The law works perfectly without fail whether you are aware of it or not. When you realize this, you begin to understand the importance of pulling weeds every day. A gardener does not wait until the weeds have overtaken the field. He inspects it regularly, removing the unwanted growth before it becomes unmanageable. The same must be done with the mind. When a negative thought arises, I can't, I'm not good enough, this will never work, you must recognize it for what it is, a weed, unworthy of your garden. Don't argue with it, don't feed it, don't entertain it. Simply remove it and replace it with a thought that serves your higher purpose. Replace I can't with I will learn. Replace I'm not good enough with I am improving. Replace this will never work with I will find a way. The substitution may seem small, but over time it transforms the entire landscape of your life. There is no such thing as standing still in the garden of the mind. Growth is constant, whether forward or backward. The soil never rests. If you are not deliberately planting and cultivating good seeds, then weeds are already taking their place. This is why mental discipline is a daily practice, not a one-time effort. It requires awareness, patience, and above all, persistence. The most successful people are not those who never experience negative thoughts. They are the ones who have trained themselves not to dwell on them. They catch the weeds early before they can take root. This practice demands honesty. It is easy to pretend that your thoughts are fine, that the occasional bitterness or jealousy doesn't matter. But the soil of the mind records everything. A seed planted in anger does not vanish just because you look away. It grows in silence until it breaks through the surface, often when you least expect it. The results we see in our lives, our relationships, our work, our sense of peace, are simply the visible growth of what we have been planting in private. To change the outer results, we must first change the inner planting. Think of your mind as the most valuable piece of land you will ever own. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is nourishment. Every belief is a pattern in which growth follows. When you neglect this land, when you let the world plant its fears, its anger, its distractions into your soil, you give up control of your own destiny. But when you take the time each day to weed out what doesn't belong, you reclaim your power. You begin to live by design, not by default. It's easy to underestimate the importance of small, consistent effort. Pulling one weed seems insignificant. Rejecting one negative thought may feel like nothing at all. But over the course of months and years, those small acts become the difference between a garden overflowing with life and one overrun by thorns. The weeds of fear and self-doubt grow fast, but the seeds of purpose and faith, once rooted, grow strong and deep. They require time, but they endure any season. There will always be moments when storms come, moments of discouragement, failure, loss. These are natural and unavoidable. But even in the storm, the gardener keeps tending his soil. He knows that what he does today, even in difficulty, determines the beauty of the harvest to come. The weeds will never disappear completely, but their power over you can fade until they are nothing more than minor inconveniences, easily pulled and forgotten. This is the reward of discipline, a mind that remains calm, clear, and focused no matter the weather. So the challenge is simple, though not easy. Become the caretaker of your own thoughts. Protect your mind as you would the most precious garden. Notice what grows there. Remove what doesn't belong. And each time you choose a thought of courage over fear, of patience over frustration, of faith over doubt, you are pulling a weed and planting a flower. Over time, that garden will bloom with beauty, strength, and peace, and your life will reflect it perfectly. Every person alive is a gardener, whether they know it or not. Each of us has been given the same soil, the human mind. It is the most fertile ground known to man, capable of producing anything we choose to plant. The soil does not favor one seed over another. It will return whatever is placed within it in equal measure and abundance. The difference between a life of success and a life of quiet frustration lies not in the richness of the soil, but in the care of the gardener. Two people can stand side by side, facing the same circumstances, born into the same world, but their outcomes can be worlds apart. Why? Because one has learned to cultivate his garden with intention, while the other has left his field to chance. The person who tends his mental soil knows that every thought is a cause and every result is an effect. He understands that what he continually thinks about, he becomes. He chooses to plant ideas of faith, confidence, service, and growth. He waters these thoughts with effort and nourishes them with persistence. He knows that the harvest will not come overnight, but he trusts the law, that what he sows he will surely reap. He looks at difficulties not as punishments, but as opportunities for cultivation. When storms arrive, he sees them as part of the natural process that strengthens the roots. He keeps working, knowing that no labor in this garden is ever wasted. Then there is the other type of person, the one who neglects his mental field. He may complain about his circumstances, about luck, about others, but his soil tells a different story. He has allowed weeds to grow where flowers could have been. He has planted seeds of resentment and doubt without realizing that they would one day become the thorns that pierce his own peace. When opportunity comes, he fails to recognize it because his eyes are clouded by fear. When good fortune knocks, he hesitates, uncertain, because he never trained his mind to expect abundance. He does not understand that the weeds he complains about were once small, harmless thoughts he ignored. His life becomes the natural result of his neglect. The difference between these two gardeners is not intelligence or education. It is attention. The successful man gives deliberate thought to what enters his mind. He reads good books, listens to uplifting voices, keeps company with those who inspire him. He guards his thoughts as carefully as a jeweler guards his gems. The unsuccessful man, on the other hand, allows anyone and anything to plant in his mind. News of fear, gossip, anger, criticism. He consumes them without reflection, unaware that each of those thoughts is a seed that will take root and bear fruit. He does not see that the negativity he absorbs from others becomes the very atmosphere of his own life. We are all living the harvest of yesterday's thoughts. The world around us is not an accident but a mirror of what has been growing inside. Change the inner landscape, and the outer one must follow. This is a law as dependable as gravity. The challenge for most is that they want a new harvest without changing the seed. They want success while thinking failure, peace while nurturing worry, love while harboring resentment. The soil will not permit such contradictions. It gives back only what it is given. To live wisely is to recognize that every moment offers a choice of what to plant. When you catch yourself thinking thoughts that limit, that discourage, that tear down, you have the power to stop and plant something better. Replace jealousy with admiration. Replace fear with curiosity. Replace anger with understanding. You will find that as these new seeds take root, they begin to crowd out the old weeds. The process is gradual, but it is sure. With time, your mental field will grow strong and resilient, producing only what serves you. What makes this truth so powerful is that it gives you complete control over your life's direction. You need not depend on luck, on other people, or on external events. You can start today to cultivate a new kind of thinking, one that moves you toward what you truly desire. The soil will not argue. It will grow whatever you ask of it, so long as you are consistent. There is no limit to what the mind can produce when it is tended with care. Wealth, peace, love, creativity, wisdom, all these are simply fruits of certain kinds of thoughts. There are no shortcuts in this work, but there is great joy in it. Once you begin to plant consciously, you'll notice subtle changes. You'll handle challenges with calm instead of panic. You'll attract opportunities that once seemed out of reach. You'll begin to see that your outer life is following the pattern you have drawn within. And just like the patient gardener, you'll come to trust that the harvest always comes in its season. The soil cannot fail, only the gardener can. So each day you must ask yourself, what am I planting today? Will my thoughts lead me toward the life I desire, or am I still scattering weeds without care? For the soil of the mind is always ready, always working, always faithful. It waits only for the hand of the gardener to decide what it shall bring forth next. Every great achievement in human history began as a single thought. Every bridge that spans a river, every painting that stirs the soul, every invention that reshaped civilization was first nothing more than an idea in someone's mind. It started as an unseen seed, invisible to the world, nurtured only by faith, imagination, and persistence. What makes the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who never move beyond dreaming is not the size of the idea, but the care with which it is cultivated. Just as a seed must be planted, watered, and protected before it can bear fruit, so too must every thought be nurtured until it becomes a reality. The process begins quietly. A spark of inspiration appears, sometimes faint, sometimes bold, and it calls for attention. Most people ignore it. They brush it aside as impossible or foolish. But a few recognize it as the beginning of something powerful. They hold it, think about it, turn it over in their minds. They imagine what it could become. These are the ones who understand that every new reality begins with an act of belief. They water the seed with persistence, feeding it daily with thought and action, until what was once invisible becomes visible to all. But faith alone is not enough. The seed must also be protected. In every garden there are forces that threaten growth: storms, pests, droughts. In the garden of the mind, those forces are doubt, fear, and discouragement. They come disguised as reason, whispering that the dream is too ambitious, that the time isn't right, that failure is inevitable. Many people listen to these voices and stop cultivating their vision. They let the weeds grow and call it fate. Yet those who achieve their goals understand that adversity is part of the process. The winds that try to destroy the seed often strengthen its roots. Every difficulty, every delay, every disappointment is merely a test of commitment. If you look closely at the story of anyone who has built something remarkable, you will find the same pattern. First comes the vision, then comes the struggle, and finally comes the harvest. The vision gives direction, the struggle builds character, and the harvest rewards both. The person who quits in the middle never sees what might have been because he lost faith in the law of growth. You cannot plant today and expect a full crop tomorrow. The laws of nature and the mind do not work that way. There is a season for planting, a season for tending, and a season for reaping. Patience is the bridge between them. Most people fail not because their goals are too high and unreachable, but because their patience is too short. They want instant results. They want the tree without waiting for the roots. But the roots must come first, for they are what sustain the growth when the winds of life begin to blow. In the same way, the unseen growth of your thoughts, your quiet discipline, your daily effort, your steady belief, must come before success ever appears on the surface. The unseen always precedes the seen. To nurture your mind's garden is to practice consistency. It means waking each morning and choosing to think thoughts that build rather than destroy, thoughts that move you closer to your purpose rather than further away. It means acting on your ideas even when no one believes in them yet. It means holding fast to your vision when others call it impossible. For history remembers not the critics, but the creators, the men and women who dared to believe in the unseen until it became undeniable. The same power that built empires and discovered new worlds resides in every human mind. It does not belong to a chosen few. It belongs to all who learn to use it. When you commit to your vision, when you feed it daily with purpose and determination, you awaken that power within yourself. It begins to work for you, quietly and relentlessly, drawing to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that align with your goal. What seems like coincidence is often the natural response of the world to a mind that knows what it wants. There will be days when progress seems invisible, when effort feels wasted, when you wonder if the harvest will ever come. Those are the moments when you must remember that growth takes place beneath the surface long before it shows above ground. Every positive thought, every small act of faith, every decision to persist when quitting would be easier. These are the roots deepening in the soil. And when the time is right, they will bear fruit in abundance. Greatness is not born in a single act, but in 1,000 small acts done with purpose. It is built through the steady cultivation of thought and the refusal to give up when the weeds of doubt appear. You already possess everything you need: the soil, the seed, and the power to tend it. The world outside will always mirror the world within, so nurture your inner garden with care. Plant your best ideas, protect them with faith, and nourish them with persistence. In time, what you once imagined will stand before you in full bloom, proof that every great creation begins as a single, well-tended seed of thought. Each day offers a silent invitation to shape the direction of your life. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning, the garden of your mind awakens, ready to receive the seeds you choose to plant. Whether you realize it or not, you are planting all the time, through every thought, every belief, every expectation. You may not see the results immediately, just as a farmer does not see the harvest the same day he plants his field. But the seeds are there, taking root beneath the surface, quietly shaping what your future will become. Life, in its simplest form, is a reflection of your most dominant thoughts. You are the sower and the reaper, both cause and effect, creator and witness. When you look around and see the results of your life, the relationships you have, the work you do, the peace or unrest you feel, they are the natural outgrowth of yesterday's thoughts. Nothing appears by accident. You cannot sow indifference and reap purpose. You cannot plant fear and harvest courage. The law of growth does not bend to convenience. It gives back precisely what you have put into it. The beauty of this truth is that it places all power in your hands. You do not have to wait for luck, approval, or circumstance. The power to create a better life begins and ends with your choice of thought. Every moment presents a fork in the road. You can choose thoughts that lift you or thoughts that limit you. You can focus on what's wrong or on what's possible. You can dwell on what's missing or celebrate what's already present. And the choice you make, repeated again and again, becomes habit. Habits of thought are the roots of character, and character determines destiny. This is why two people can face the same hardship, yet one grows stronger while the other grows bitter. It is not the event that shapes them, but the thoughts they cultivate in response to it. It is easy to underestimate how powerful a single thought can be. Most people let their minds wander through fields of worry, anger, and self-doubt. Unaware that each of these thoughts is a seed being planted, they don't see the harm because the results are not immediate. But the law of the mind is exact and patient. What you repeat becomes belief, and what you believe becomes your reality. The person who constantly says, "I can't," finds himself surrounded by limitations. The one who says, "I can and I will," discovers doors opening where others see walls. Your words and thoughts are not harmless. They are creative forces, shaping the conditions of your existence. If you wish to change your life, start by becoming the deliberate caretaker of your own thoughts. Begin your day by setting the tone of your inner world. Fill your mind with what you want to grow: gratitude, confidence, peace, enthusiasm. When negative thoughts appear, and they will, see them for what they are: weeds blown in by the wind. Do not let them root. Replace them with thoughts of possibility, purpose, and progress. It may feel awkward at first, just as a neglected garden takes time to restore, but consistency is the secret. The mind, when trained, becomes your most loyal servant. It will produce exactly what you feed it. There is a quiet joy that comes from mastering your inner world. When you no longer react to every gust of wind, when you can look at challenges without fear, when your peace is no longer dependent on the opinions of others, you begin to live from strength instead of survival. You move through the world with clarity, for you understand that the outer world is merely a mirror. The peace, abundance, and joy you cultivate within eventually appear without. This is not a theory. It is a law as old as time. Those who live with intention, who take care of their mental garden, find that life itself begins to respond with opportunities, friendships, and circumstances that reflect their new state of being. It is not enough to know this truth, it must be lived. Knowledge without action is like seed left in a bag, full of potential but useless. Plant what you know. Practice gratitude daily. Speak words of kindness. Imagine success, not failure. Let your dominant thoughts be those of service, growth, and faith in the goodness of life. In time, these practices will become second nature, and the results will be unmistakable. The weeds of worry will shrink away, replaced by the steady growth of peace and confidence. No one else can do this work for you. The soil of your mind belongs only to you. You decide what grows there. Each sunrise offers a new beginning, a chance to start again, to plant something better, something stronger, something more aligned with the person you wish to become. The harvest you long for, success, love, peace, happiness, is already contained within the seeds you hold right now. Choose them with care. Nurture them with patience. Protect them with faith. And one day, perhaps without even noticing, you will look around and realize that your life has become a reflection of everything good and true you've planted within. So in the end, it all comes back to a simple truth. Your mind is a garden, and you are its only gardener. The soil has never failed anyone. It simply returns what it's given. The weeds and the flowers, the thorns and the fruit, they are all results of what has been planted with thought, belief, and attention. You hold in your hands every day the seeds of your own destiny. Whether you plant despair or hope, fear or courage, complaint or gratitude, the choice is entirely yours. No one can plant for you, and no one can harvest for you. Life will give you precisely what you ask of it through the quiet language of your thoughts. If you want peace, plant it. If you want success, plant the thoughts and habits that create it. If you want love, give it freely and think in its spirit. The laws of growth are constant and unchanging, and they favor the one who tends his mind with care. The garden will not grow overnight, but it will grow, faithfully, abundantly. beautifully if only you remain steadfast. Every thought is a seed, every day is planting season, and every harvest is the reflection of what you've chosen to nurture within. The secret to a better life is not hidden in luck or circumstance, but in the quiet discipline of shaping your inner world. So guard your thoughts as you would a precious garden, for they are building the landscape of your future. What you plant today, you will surely live tomorrow. So plant wisely, plant deliberately, and let the harvest of your life be one of beauty, peace, and purpose.